Okay, so this is my introductory paragraph for a personal essay. It's based off the Stalking the Rustically Hip Family on Instagram from the New Yorker essay that we looked at. And this models her introduction there. So I want to go back and refresh my memory. My 5-year-old sister smiles innocently up at me, her blonde hair streaked with ketchup, and she's holding half a dino nugget. It's as typical a dinner scene as any can be with a young murderess at the table. I look at her and mutter under my breath, not as quietly as I should have. I wish that I had been allowed to eat dino nuggets or even get dirty. Okay, so that last sentence is like the crux of what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to do. So we need to look at that, and then I have to do two things. I need to go back and edit my introduction and make it better because I know it's not where I want it to be. And I also need to think where I'm going to go with the follow-up paragraph. So remember that a personal essay is you looking in depth. It's an in-depth look at something in your life, and you add some commentary. Okay, so that's just going to be our reminder of what's going on. Let's try your, yep. So this is what a personal essay is and does. So let's just keep that in mind while we're going through. So I have to kind of establish a tone here. And I need to look at my writing to see what my tone is. So we have this. She smiles innocently up at me. It's streaked with ketchup. She's holding half a dino nuggets. It's as typical as a scene can be with a young murderess. Okay, here we go. So we start to get some understanding here about maybe how the writer is feeling, how the speaker is feeling. I look at her and mutter under my breath. I mutter, that's not normally a nice thing. Not as quietly as I should have. That's another clue. Um, I wish that I had been allowed to eat dino nuggets or even get dirty. So the key here is this I wish. I wish. So we're going to put the tone here as envious, and probably my purpose, my theme, it's in this last sentence. I wish I had been allowed to eat dino nuggets or even get dirty. So we have to link back to this 5-year-old sister. It plays a big part. So the message really is that um, the sister gets privileges, privileges um, that the the other sibling didn't. So that's that's our focus. That's our proof. That's everything we're looking for. All right. So that's our tone and our purpose. So now, for the first part, my first directions were that I had to make the paragraph better. So I need to pick two sentences that I can hone in on and make better. So what we need to look at, I'm definitely going to look at the sentence that says it's as typical a dinner scene can be. We're going to look at this one and probably the next one. So I'm going to look at those two sentences and see how I can make it better. So it's as typical a dinner scene can be with a young murderess at the table. So my theme is, or my tone is envious, and my theme is that my sister gets away with this. So we're trying to add some snark there. I see that it's playing off this ketchup thing. I knew I wanted to do that, but I don't really know how I want to do that. So it's as typical a dinner scene can be. So I want to work here with like word choice. So I would say it's not as typical. Maybe it's, I'm going to put my corrections in red right now to see if I like them. So maybe we say that's not what I wanted red. Maybe we say it's a typical dining scene and we take this out. So let's take that out. We'll put it blue to remove it, like bright blue, so I remember to remove it. It's a typical dinner scene. Maybe I want to add, at our table. At our table. It's a typical dinner scene at our table. And maybe we take out B. And we change that to down to the. So we'll put that in red. I'm changing that. Down to the young murderess at the table. I like that. I like that better. It's a typical dinner scene at our table, down to the young murderess, and then we're going to take out at the table. So the next sentence is, I look at her and mutter under my breath, not as quietly as I should have. I wish that I had been allowed to eat dino nuggets or even get dirty. So I want to look at the how I'm muttering. So I need to add a word before I look. I look, or maybe after. I look. Now I need a word that shows that I'm angry or envious. Let's try disdainfully. Disdainfully. At her and mutter under my breath. I don't like this not as quietly as I should have. I like what it's saying, but I don't like where it's going. So I'm gonna put that in blue and we're gonna change that. So I look disdainfully at her and mutter under my breath. And maybe just shorten that to like fairly loud. Yeah, fairly loud. I think I like that better. I'll change that to red. So I look disdainfully at her and mutter under my breath fairly loud. I wish that I had. Ooh, I just got an idea. Fairly loud and glancing at my parents. Ooh, there's the dig. I look disdainfully at her and mutter under my breath fairly loud. Ooh, not and, while glancing. While glancing. Yes, yes. I look disdainfully at her and mutter under my breath fairly loud while glancing at my parents. I wish I had been allowed to eat dino nuggets or even get dirty. Yes, those edits make this much better. Much better. So now I have to write an a follow-up paragraph, right? The next paragraph here. So it's a personal essay, which is an in-depth look at something in your life, and you're adding some commentary. So really, it looks like the commentary that I'm adding is that my sister got to live this different life, right? She got to have some privileges I didn't get to have, maybe a little more freedom that I didn't get to have. And I need to figure out how I feel about that in this next paragraph. So there's 13 years between her and I. Apparently, this has bothered me more than I realized because this is what I wrote about. So let's think about this. Where would I go next? So the end line is, I wish that I had been allowed to eat dino nuggets or even get dirty. So I want to pick up with that thought. So maybe I start my next paragraph, not italicized, and I talk about dinners. Dinners when I was growing up weren't a choice. They were not a choice. like my mom made the food and you ate it or not. So, ma, oh, I don't know what I did there. We're gonna undo. There we go. And then I think I would just play off the concept of, um, mom made one dinner and you either ate it or you didn't. My sister got dino nuggets. And I want to change this to this. 13 years later, my sister got dino nuggets. Then I want to think about this. So maybe my mom mellowed with age. Or maybe my sister what am I trying to say? My sister was stood up for her desires more than I ever did. This is something she is better at. Even, oh, so many typos. Even now. Stood up. And then I want to play with this idea that she's better at this now. I was always a people pleaser and still am. She doesn't care what people think. Maybe that's the biggest difference between us. And then I would play with this paragraph and make sure it embodies the tone that I want and all of that. So I just model again what I did up in this introduction paragraph down here. We would make sure the tone stays envious. My purpose for this paragraph is going to change for body. One is looking into the why. So that's how you're going to go about and do this assignment. You're going to reflect on it, make it better, and then you're going to do the same process that I did for the introduction down here in your body paragraph and just see how you can make sure you keep that envious tone and your purpose.